Okay. Alrighty. Okay. How are we looking? I think we're looking alright. So I'll just wait. I have my sexy moderator with me tonight. How good's that?
I don't know about sexy doing.
Alrighty. So, look, let's get stuck right into it. So hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so tonight we got a follow up from the other night. So if you didn't catch last night's, or not last night's, but the other night's live stream, we had a bit of a problem. So we had a two-in-one. We had a CPU that's dead, and we had a motherboard that's dead. So two parts, two different purchase orders, but both were dead on arrival. So it seems that either the motherboard or the CPU worked initially, but died pretty much as soon as we turned the system back on, right after it posted. So feel free to check out the previous day's build. But now we have some replacement parts. As you can see here, we've got a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, and we've got an MSI X670 Pro. Hang on a second. Alrighty, so that is the board there that we're working with. So it's actually quite a good motherboard. So, you know, the fact that it was dead doesn't really detract from the quality of the motherboard. Things can die, so don't mind the bit of a mess on my work table here. I've got parts and stuff from the old PC that we built. Okay, board number 2. Now I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit nervous. I'm doing this live. Make sure this motherboard actually frickin' works. Okay, so if you didn't catch it, I'll go through the features from the top left-hand corner of the motherboard, and I'll go around and I'll finish on the rear I/O. So up the top here, we got two 8-pin connectors for our CPU. More than enough power. Each one of these connectors can put through about 250 watts. So unless you want to be pushing fucking 500 watts through your CPU, and I wouldn't recommend doing that, you definitely don't need them, but it's a nice to have anyway. Nice direct touch heat sinks here on our MOSFET, VRM and co-processors. Our AM5 socket in the middle. We have a total of 8 fan headers on this board. 4 RGB headers, 2 12 volt and 2 5 volt. We've got USB-C front panel header there. We've got 4 slots for our RAM, dual channel memory over the 4 slots. We have our SATA ports. We got 6 SATA ports. We got 2 USB 3 headers, one horizontally orientated, so it's nice and neat. We're going to be using that one for this build. Along the bottom here, we've got our front panel connectors. We've got our speaker headers, 2 USB 2s, various debug and COM port related headers there. We have a front panel audio there. These gold capacitors you can see down in the bottom left hand corner, these are our audio capacitors. The gold is insulation around those capacitors because audio is an electro signal, so it's subject to electromagnetic interference. So having them insulated like that means there's less disruption to the audio. In the center here, we've got 4 M2 slots, and we've got 2 decent PCIe slots here. So the top one is our X16, so that's where you plug your main graphics card in. But if you were using this system for 3D modeling or something like that, some sort of software that can make use of 2 graphics cards at the same time, you could plug another one here in this slot here in the middle. Notice how they're both silver? The top slot there is a PCIe X16 at the top there. This one at the bottom there is an X8 slot. So that X8 is generally fine to run a second graphics card in, provided that you are running software that can utilize 2 graphics cards. Gaming and stuff, that doesn't utilize 2 graphics cards. So if you're a gamer, don't worry about that extra slot there. Don't worry about what I've just said. It's not really relevant to you. Just a little point to note there while we're talking about PCIe slots. So when I say X16 and X8, this is what we call PCIe lanes. And so our consumer CPU, our Ryzen 7800X3D that we got there, that only has 24 PCIe lanes. So even if all 3 of these slots were X16, you wouldn't be able to use more than this slot and this bottom slot at the same time. Now just remember that all of your NVMe slots here, these are all X4. So even though this slot here looks completely different to these ones here where you plug your SSDs in, it's actually just a different shape of the same connection. So these M2 slots, or the M2 slot on your motherboard, that is a PCIe X4 slot in the NVMe form factor there. So just FYI. The other 2 slots there's, we've got a PCIe X4 on the bottom, and we got a little X1 here if you need it. Then around the back here, our rear I/O, we've got a total of 8 USB ports, 3.2 and above, and 2 of them are actually Type-C ports. So it's pretty good to get a motherboard under $500 that has 2 USB-C ports on the back. I mean, like, babe, you've got a pretty expensive motherboard.
Yeah.
You don't have 2 USB-2s on the USB-Cs on the back,
No,
do you?
I don't.
Yeah. Just to give you an example.
The, live mixer.
Yeah, she's got an ASRock live mixer. Check that board out. It's actually pretty cool. And then the other stuff around the back, we've got optical audio out. We've got Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2, or is it 5.3 maybe on this board? Not sure. Not a big deal of difference. 2.5 gigabit LAN and a couple of display outputs, but we won't really be using them. Okay. CPU 2. Alright, so I've had, in my entire life of building PCs, I think I've had 3 dead CPUs, including the one that I just sent back. Okay? CPU failures are extremely rare. If you think you have a bad CPU, I would be double and triple and quadruple checking literally every other component attached to it before you assume that you have a CPU that's dead. They very rarely die, especially out of the box. Older CPUs, absolutely, they can definitely be dead, and it's not even that surprising. But a brand new CPU out of the box, very, very strange to have one of them die. Is there a screwdriver over there, babe?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I needed a different thread pitch for these M2 offsets here. So I'll go ahead and install all three of them. We only need one. I think I installed all of them on the board I sent back, but that's okay. They can have a few extra M2 screws. What do you reckon? Reckon they'll be happy? I don't think they'll give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit either. Nah, they just wouldn't be bothered even touching him, I reckon. Okay, so let's chuck a couple of screws in these offsets just so Noah can easily add some more M2 storage at his convenience. What is that?
EV evolutions.
Oh god.
They look like prism crystals.
Why did they do that instead of just making more evolutions? Because I'm pretty sure all the Pokemon fans don't necessarily want new forms of the freaking evolutions. They want different evolutions, like new types, not just like a mega version of the same freaking Pokemon. Like they seem to be doing a lot of this, like freaking new versions of Pokemon and stuff these days, and I don't think it's as popular with the fan bases as what they might think. So we got to remove our standard AMD mounting brackets here. Okay.
Bailey, no. You have smelly dog farts. Go away. Oh, Jesus Christ, dog.
Yep, sweet. Don't mind me there, I was just making sure that I had these brackets on the right way. They're non-symmetrical, so we want to make sure that they're definitely on the right way. And before I chuck that on, we definitely need some thermal compound. Okay. Don't mind me as I just use up a few spare tubes of thermal. Beauty. Look at that. Now, just remember, grab it by the actual radiator because this fucking thing just comes apart. Okay, so let me just move back to full screen. Alrighty, so there you go. That is a solid air cooler. So this is what an air cooler looks like when it's just as good as an all-in-one liquid cooler. Okay. So obviously I've already got a power supply installed. I've got a graphics card here. It's brand new. It's basically never been used. Okay. It's always great fun installing a motherboard in a case that's already got the cables routed everywhere. me. Oh, just get these CPU cables installed. Alright, so I got the CPU power installed there, and we'll just plug in this top fan here. Okay.
That's such a chunky cooler.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
think I've seen that one. Is that new?
It's kind of new, as in like it's
It can last 6 months?
no. What I was gonna say is it's kind of new, as in it's like a new model.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, so when you plug in these little cables here on the bottom there for your power switch and stuff, just remember that it's positive on the left, negative on the right. It's just like your car battery. How did I even get this in before? There we go. Gotcha. Hey? Gotcha. Awesome. So now I've just got a few screws to chuck in the motherboard now that everything else is connected and we've got everything where we want it to be. Oh. I got a cable stuck down the bottom, slightly behind the motherboard, so I've got to change a few of these screws around so I get a bit of flex at the bottom and I can release that stuck fan cable. Okay, so graphics card time. Okay. Alright. Well, look. I don't know about you, but I'm fucking scared. Okay? I am really, really, really fucking scared, alright? I am super, super scared. Yeah. Yeah, man. Strangest shit that I've ever fucking seen, to be honest. Absolutely fucking insane. But anyway, we're back here. We're back here now. Let's get Windows installed. Let's set this thing up and let's make sure that we're all good to go. We should be. It looks awesome, man. I love the fucking I love the all black thing. Oh, I've forgotten one thing. Okay, one thing. Hmm? Mm-hmm. I was.
No. Not again.
Yep. Yep. $1,180 worth of parts, DOA. And so if you don't understand what that means that I have to go and buy $1,180 worth of parts to replace instantly while I wait a little while to get a refund for the faulty parts. But that's okay. This is why you buy a PC from a business and not do it yourself, because, yeah. if you're not like onto it, you're gonna have a bad time. And like, you know, if you do attempt it, I would at least recommend you have, you know, at least one friend who's, you know, onto it. Because you might need to go there and swap some parts out. Because that's the thing about diagnosing PC hardware. You need other parts to replace to be able to work out what's wrong. There's no no magic scan tool that we can hook up to it that tells us specifically 100% certainty what's wrong with it. The only types of things we can do is we can get certain error codes that can show up, and those error codes can sort of lead us in the right direction as to determining what the fault is. But it's not like, you know, PCs have a lot of stuff going on inside them. It's a bit like modern cars. And just because you've got a certain scan code that's come up in your car or on your PC, it doesn't mean that, you know, this is the... It's telling you specifically what's wrong. It's telling you what's failed. Now, when it comes to discussing what's failed, you need to have some understanding of what would cause that failure. If you don't have that knowledge, then you can look at all the fucking reports in the world and all the codes in the world, but you won't have any idea where to start. You know, people send me, you know, freaking screenshots and stuff of like, oh, Windows crashed and it had this error code, and they send me a picture of like the blue screen and like the little error code that's at the bottom, as if like that tells me specifically what's wrong with the PC and that I could probably help them remotely. And that is just not the case, unfortunately. Now, the thing is, hardware problems can cause software problems, but software problems typically don't cause hardware problems, typically. I just realised there's another fan that's not plugged in. The cable's caught slightly behind the board. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. All of our fans are definitely working. Okay. Oop. Okay, so we can get the rest of this going on pretty quickly. Nah, we don't. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna bother installing RAID. It requires a manual installation. So people don't really use RAID for desktop computers anymore. Okay. We'll just do the rest of the offline stuff and then we'll restart and we'll finish this up. I hate it when problems occur with customers' PCs. Yes, looking a bit better than last time. Be sure to like go back and have a look at the last live stream and have a look and see what happened, because it's quite a spin out. Alright. Okay. And now we can restart. And now once that's all installed, we can plug in a LAN cable and we won't have any dramas connecting to the internet. Do you know what's in my head? Def Leppard, pour some sugar on me. I don't know, it's just in my head. Alright, so MSI Afterburner and Reaver tuners installed. Okay. Alright, GPU2 is our graphics card. And so what we're doing here was setting up the statistics we want to see in our on-screen display when we run the gaming benchmarks. And you have to set these toggle keys if you want your on-screen display to work. So if you're trying to copy what I'm doing with the same software, make sure you definitely set those toggle keys or it won't work. Don't know what the deal is here with Epic Games. Normally it downloads a lot faster than this. And while I'm not on, I don't have fiber internet here or anything like that, but I do have 5G, and I get about 300 megabits a second download. So realistically, oh, I just closed this. I'm already. Okay. Alrighty. And we don't have any other drives or anything connected here, so just got the one drive there in disk management. Don't mind my portable drive there that's plugged in. All of our devices there are installed in Device Manager. This must be an issue on their end. Alright, let's run some gaming benchmarks while we're waiting for everything else to install. How's that? So high, no anti-aliasing. Alright, and so this stuff on the screen here. So we got GPU 2 there, that's our graphics card. Our temperature, usage, clock speed, and the wattage it's drawing. Mem 2, that's our VRAM, usage and clock speed. CPU, temperature, usage, clock speed and wattage. And we've got our RAM usage there, and this number here below RAM, that's how many frames per second it's currently running at.